Good afternoon, children, and welcome back to the biology class. Today we'll be doing the 18th lesson of your 11th NCERT biology textbook, which is the body fluids and circulation. Okay. Now, what is circulation? It is the transport of nutrients, gases. You just saw in the respiratory system, right? It carries both oxygen and CO2. And also excretory products, hormones, gases, and whatnot it carries. So circulation is the transport of all these materials through the fluid medium, which is the what? Blood. Okay. Now in lower organisms, they use the water from their surroundings, like sponges and all. Okay. They through the water the water moves inside the body, through which they exchange the gases, or not only gases, they exchange the waste materials plus nutrients and everything. Okay. Whereas in higher organisms, and especially in vertebrates, you can find they have a body fluid, which is the blood, which helps in the transport of all various kinds of materials. Okay. Now, if you take in organisms, there are two types of circulatory systems. One is the open circulatory system, the other is the closed circulatory system. What do you mean by an open circulatory system, children? In open circulatory system, which you can see in cockroach and other lower invertebrates, okay, in which there is a heart-like organ which pumps the blood into the body or into the sinuses, into places called as body spaces called as sinuses. Okay. Whereas in closed circulatory system, the blood flows in blood vessels. In the heart pumps the blood into the one of the blood vessels, and it will go and connect with the other blood vessel, and again they will return back to the heart. Okay, so that is why it's called as closed circulatory system. So you can see as the evolution proceeds, when you take from lower vertebrates, that is the fishes, to the mammals, you can see there is development of the heart. In fishes, you find there is only heart is made up of only two chambered, which is one atrium and one ventricle. When you go to the next higher level, that is the amphibians, you find they possess three chambered heart. Three chambered, which means there is two atria and there is one ventricle. Okay, right. And when you take the reptiles, there is again three chambered, but the ventricles is semi, or the partition is incomplete. There is partition, but the partition is incomplete. And when you come to birds and mammals, there is heart is four chambered, and there is complete partition, and there is no mixing up of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Okay, there is separate chambers for each of these different blood. Okay, and there are different patterns of circulation. In some organisms, you find there is single circulation, which means the heart is pumping the blood into vessels, and that is again returning back. That it goes to the cells and tissues of the body, and from there CO2 is brought by another type of blood vessel and reaches the heart. So this is just single circulation. Okay, and there is also incomplete double circulation, and there is also double circulation, which is in double circulation, I'll just say now. See, in single circulation, example in fishes, the heart is receiving impure blood from all the parts of the body. It receives impure blood, and this deoxygenated blood is sent to the gills for getting oxygenated. Right. Now, this oxygenated blood is sent to the various body parts. Okay. And from the body parts, the deoxygenated blood is carried back to the heart. Okay. And which is called a single circulation. incomplete double circulation means it is seen in example amphibians and reptiles, where you can see partition is incomplete. Okay, here the left atrium receives oxygenated blood from gills, oxygenated blood, so it receives from the gills or lungs or the skin. You know, in frogs and all, there is 3 types of respiration: lungs, cutaneous, as well as the gills in the tadpoles and all, right? So left atrium, the left side of the heart, the left atrium receives oxygenated blood, pure blood from these areas, and the right atrium gets deoxygenated blood from the different parts of the body. But both of these blood from the atria flows down to the ventricle, where both of these get mixed up. Both pure and impure blood get mixed up. Okay, and the ventricle pumps out mixed blood. Okay, that is incomplete double circulation, because it takes double route, one to the gills, one to the body parts. That's why it is called as incomplete double circulation. Whereas double circulation means, example you can see in the case of birds and mammals, where the right atrium receives deoxygenated blood. Just in this also, here also in incomplete double circulation also, the right atrium receives deoxygenated. Remember children, right side of the heart receives deoxygenated blood. Okay, and left atrium receives oxygenated blood from all parts of the body. Okay, and from these 2 areas from the atrium, these passes down into the ventricle, where the blood doesn't get mixed up. Okay, and from the ventricle, right ventricle, which is now deoxygenated, one vessel go to the lungs to get oxygenated. Okay, and the other one, ventricle pumps out separately without any mixing up. Now this after oxygenation, after going to the lungs and getting oxygenated, it goes to the next left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, the blood is pumped by aorta, the main branch aorta, to all the parts of the body. That is why it is double circulation. It takes 2 different routes. That's why it is called as double circulation. Now coming to the human circulatory system, it consists of 2 types of circulatory system, which is the blood vascular system. One is the blood vascular system, the other is lymphatic system, which constitute the lymphatic vessels, and the liquid flowing inside it is the lymph. Okay, so the lymph vessels and also the lymph nodes. And the blood vascular system consists of mainly the heart that pumps the blood into blood vessels, right? So what are the 3 components of the blood vascular system? The heart, the blood vessels. Okay, now we'll be doing heart in detail. Let me talk about the blood now. Now blood consists of a liquid part, the plasma, and in which you can find the cells, which are the formed elements. Right? So the blood consists of the liquid part, the plasma, in which the formed elements flow. Okay, and which are these formed elements? They are the RBC or erythrocytes, red colored cells, right? And WBC or leukocytes, and platelets or thrombocytes. Clear? Okay, and now again coming to WBCs, there are 5 different types of WBCs, children. Okay, WBC forms the main organ of the immune system. Okay, and there are 5 different types of WBC I told you, and they belong to again. Now inside these cells, WBC cells, the cytoplasm looks like having granules like structures. Some of them have granules like structures. So these are called as, they belong to the granulocytes. Okay, the other ones which do not have these granule like structures are called the agranulocytes. Okay, so what are the two types of WBCs? Two types of WBCs, granulocytes and agranulocytes. And the granulocytes are the acidophils, the basophils and eosinophils or neutrophils, right? What are they? Acidophils, basophils and neutrophils. Okay, and the agranulocytes are the lymphocytes and monocytes. Okay, altogether name the 5 different blood cells are of WBC: eosinophils, basophils, acidophils, lymphocytes and monocytes. Clear? These are the 5 types. Okay, and these lymphocytes among these 5, the lymphocytes provide the major immunity, or provides the, what is that, immunoglobulins. So the lymphocytes which gets matured in the blood are called as B lymphocytes, and some of the lymphocytes pass through the blood and goes to the thymus region, thymus gland, which is another important organ of immunity, which is present near the heart, which is an endocrine organ, thymus gland. Okay, about some WBC, some lymphocytes passes through the blood and goes to the thymus gland where it gets matured. Okay, and they are called as T lymphocytes. So what are the two lymphocytes? B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Okay, and the main blood vessels are the arteries, veins and the smaller capillaries. Now coming to the blood, composition of blood, you know that blood is made up of 55% of plasma and the remaining 45% is the formed elements, right? Now coming to plasma. Now what is this plasma? It is mainly made up of water. Which constitute nearly 90 to 92%. Okay, right. And you know, in this liquid only you find the many of the dissolved gases are dissolved, the nutrients are dissolved in this one and it gets passed through the blood. Okay, excretory waste products are present in the plasma. Okay, hormones may be present and many other dissolved substances are there, inorganic substances like sodium ions, magnesium ions, chlorine ions, bicarbonate ions, calcium ions, and there is glucose, nutrient, which is the nutrients, glucose, amino acids, lipids, cholesterol, etc. And also besides all these 3 things, the plasma also contains 3 different types of proteins, which gives the blood the osmotic content or osmotic, or what is that, its nature. Okay, it's not a completely liquid way. We may say it is liquid, but it is okay. So it gives these 3 proteins are the ones which gives that fluid nature of the blood. Okay. Now what are these 3 kinds of proteins? Which are albumins, globulins and fibrinogen. Okay. So what are these albumins? They give the osmotic balance or regulates the blood pressure. These are the 3 proteins, children, right? And globulins, you heard of immunoglobulins, children, which forms the immunity, right? Antibodies, immunoglobulins. So the globulins act as an antibody for defense of the body. And fibrinogen, they are used for blood coagulation, for blood clotting, right? Fibrinogen. Okay, we'll be doing 5 clotting in detail and all. Okay, so what are the 3 types of plasma protein, children? Fibrinogen, globulins, albumins. Okay, besides all the other components.